So reading scales then, it is so easy to make mistakes with these. It is quite a straightforward skill, but maybe you've been shown things incorrect in the past. There's a couple of little tweaks, hopefully we can get you the correct answers every single time. So here we go, I've got what speed is shown on this following diagram. What I've got here, I have got a variety of different questions that have different sort of scales, okay? So you can see I've got the little needle here is pointing to that number there now, okay? So what we need to do, we need to work out how much are those little lines worth for these sort of questions. Now, there are different ways of working it out, okay? You could try count up in ones, count up in twos and see what fits, or you could do what we call a division method, where we find out how many little intervals we have and then divide it by the numbers that we're using or the difference between the numbers. So here, it's clear now that obviously this line here is going to be 70, because it's halfway between 60 and 80. Well, as we can see here, we've got quite a lot of lines now between 60 and 70, but we need to count the gaps, not the lines, the gaps. Well, if I count these, we have 10 gaps. So we have 10 gaps to go between 60 and 70. Obviously, this one's nice and easy. We're going up in ones. So here we can count up 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68 miles per hour. So this one here is 68 miles per hour. I've looked at the gaps, not the lines. Taking that knowledge forward then, you can see here we have got grams, 200, 400, 600, etc, etc. We need to find the value of that point there that the arrow is pointing to. Well, we have this line here, which is halfway between 800 and 1000. Well, that would be 900. 900 is in the middle of 800 and 1000. But as you can see, this arrow is greater than 900. Now, as I said before, we need to count the gaps, not the lines. Okay, count gaps. The gaps here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 gaps. Okay, 5 gaps for 100 grams. So 100 divided by the 5 gaps is 20. So for this one, each little line is worth 20. Let's just check it though. 900, 920, 940, 960, 980, 1000. It works. So this line is pointing at 920 grams. Don't forget units of measurement at the end. So gaps, not lines. I see it so often when people go, oh, 4 lines, 100, 100 divided by 4 is 25. But we're counting the gaps. We've counted up in 20s, we know it's right. Okay, so gaps, not lines. This one here then. So the information we know, we have 0, 50, 100. So let's fill in something that we can work out easily. Halfway between 50 and 100 is 75. Count the gaps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, we have 5 gaps. But how many grams do we have between 75 and 100? Well, that'll be 25. Because 100 subtract 75 is 25. 25 divided by 5 is 5 grams. So each little line, each interval is worth 5 grams. But this is 75, 75, 80, 85 grams. Remember, this here is the gaps. Next one then, I think this is the last one. We can see here we have these scales. You might use them in science, little Newton meters, where we have grams on the side here. The kitten, the weight of a kitten, or the mass of a kitten, shall I say, is on this line here. However, we don't know the value of these little lines. Let's count the gaps. 1, 2, 3, 4. But we have, that's 4 gaps between 200 grams and 300 grams, which is 100. 100 divided by 4 is 25. So then 225 would be the mass of the kitten, 225 grams. Guinea pig then, well, this one's a little bit easier because it is halfway between 300 and 400 to make 350 grams. Well, I can't say any more. Count the gaps, not the little lines. Little division method always helps, but always check it. Okay, we know this is 25, 200, 225, 250, 275, and then 300. Okay, count gaps, division method, check. Everything has to be really easy. Hope it helps.